Welcome back to Heroes and Whiskey. We are printing our way through the D&D Monster Manual, and today we are printing monster number 34, the Gnoll Lord, the Beast of Butchery, Yeenoghu. So when I was doing research for this episode, this was the image of Yeenoghu that kept sticking in my mind, just looking all gnarled and depraved, wrapped in chains. He's got a flail, but it looked like he's almost starving, struggling, just not right. And so I went out to try to find this model to print, and there are no Lord models available, but this one from Cursed Forge, I just didn't feel like it had the personality. Here's this one from Tomoronic. There are a number of these where it's a kind of a gnoll boss who has a flail and armor and could be used as Yeenoghu, but again, it didn't have that right feel to it. There's this one from Loot Studios that's kind of in the same vein. Could you use this as Yeenoghu? Yes, it just didn't feel right to me. And then I saw these prints on my mini factory and of people printing this particular model. I was like, where does this come from? This one is great. And finally I found it not on my mini factory. In fact, it's not available there. It is over on Thingiverse, and wouldn't you know it, it's done by kind of one of our favorites on this channel, Yasashii Kyojin Studio. And so I was so happy to find it, and so happy that it was someone whose work I had enjoyed before and printed and trusted. So not surprisingly, this model looks great. It's what we would expect from Yasashii Kyojin. If you remember, we printed their Behir, their Spectator, and their Twig Blights were the ones that really caused the light bulb to go off in my head saying, hey, this is what this craft is capable of. And so this model, it's got the ferocity that we're looking for. It's got kind of that depraved nature, and so I really love it. It doesn't come with a base, which is something that we've run into with Yasashii Kyojin's work before. But if you're willing to print out your own base, it sits level just fine. It looks fantastic. It looks ferocious. It looks like it is going to be a battle to remember for your party. In terms of how he it printed out great. As I said, you do need to print your own base, but if you're willing to do that, it comes out great. I've had this tendency lately to hollow out models that don't really need to be hollowed out, and this is one. It's just not big enough in any particular spot where it needs to be hollowed out. So unfortunately, he does have a little bit of a green stuff scar on his back, but overall, it came out really, really well. In terms of size, it's a little bit difficult to tell. I think Yeenoghu is supposed to be 12 to 14 feet tall. When he's crouched over here, it looks like he probably would be about 12 feet tall. Maybe this could have been printed a little bit larger, but I think the scale feels right. And in terms of resources, because it was on Thingiverse, it didn't cost us anything. It's fairly small, so we were able to print it out in about 4 hours. And so our total cost for all of the monsters that we have printed so far still sits at $350, and our total time of printing is 6 days and about 15 hours. So if you need a Beast of Butchery, this Yeenoghu from Yasashii Kyojin Studios has you covered. Next up, we're going to be diving into the generic demon types, starting with the Balor.